Everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the Google Pixel 6a against the Google Pixel 6 Pro and see which one is a better option for you. Now, I will definitely tell you, first of all, Google sent me out both these phones. I totally forgot they sent me this one. They just sent me out this one too. If you want to buy either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, the Pixel 6 Pro is definitely the better phone in pretty much every single area. And as of right now, the Pixel 6a wins in one specific area, which is the price tag. However, I do think if the Pixel 7 Pro comes out and if that ends up, getting if that ends up staying the same price, the Pixel 6 Pro could possibly go down to around 500, probably less than that in the used market in the next 6 months, probably a year. So you can probably buy one of these things for less than this thing. But let's go and see how they compare. Side by side, the Pixel 6 Pro is definitely a bigger phone overall. On the front of the Pixel 6a, we have a 6.1-inch OLED display. Now it's a 1080p panel, and it's a decent panel, it's a whole bunch display. Physically on the front, they kind of have somewhat of the same design, but this is still a pretty good display overall, and I don't really have too many things to complain about it in that standpoint. I feel like the viewing angles are pretty good, and it's an overall pretty decent panel. On the Google Pixel 6 Pro, on the other hand, we have a 6.7-inch 1440p panel, and it's also an AMOLED display. And this is a beautiful screen for the most part. I think the S22 Ultra is a little bit better, but it's a whole bunch display, fingerprint sensor built in the display of both of these, and this is definitely a better panel. You have a little bit of a curve on the side as well, so it makes it feel like a much more premium phone than the Pixel 6a, but surprising because the Pixel 6a is also a pretty premium feeling phone as well. Now, in terms of thinness and thickness and the way these sides are built on both these phones, we have kind of the same type of layout. We do have a flat side almost on the Pixel 6a, but we have on the Pixel 6 Pro kind of this curved side with a little bit of a flatness coming on. We do have like this metallic kind of feeling on the Pixel 6 Pro, which feels really premium, but the Pixel 6a still looks very good. And if we make our way over to the back of both these phones, it's kind of interesting because they look almost exactly the same. On the Pixel 6a, we have this kind of like complete white, where the Pixel 6 Pro is kind of like this like beige a little bit. We have a triple camera setup on the Pixel 6 Pro. We have a dual camera setup on the Pixel 6a. Now, another big thing to keep in mind between both these phones is actually with the features built in. Specifically for the Pixel 6a lacking some, we do not have wireless or reverse wireless charging on this specific phone on the Pixel 6a. On the Pixel 6 Pro, on the other hand, we do have both those things, which is actually really cool. And that's kind of where a majority of the flagship features kind of lacking on the Pixel 6a. We also do not have a 120Hz display on the Pixel 6a, where we have that on the 6 Pro, which is really cool. So there's a couple things here and there, but I don't really think it's a crazy big deal, but it is kind of one of those things to keep in mind. Now, in terms of software and longevity, you're going to be getting a long-lasting phone from both of these. I think from what I understand, both these phones are going to be lasting the same exact amount of time. So whether you get the Pixel 6a or the 6 Pro, they're both going to be lasting the same amount of time, and they're both going to be giving you pretty much the same type of software experience too, because both of these are stock Android. That is one of the better features between both these phones, which I personally think is actually really cool. So by getting a phone like this, you're going to be getting the same type of experience for the most part as a cheaper Pixel 6a. And you can buy these things, I think, for like $849 or $799 nowadays for the 6 Pro. The Pixel 6a $449, so it's a couple $100 cheaper than the 6 Pro. And you're getting almost the exact same experience, which is actually pretty insane. So in terms of that covers it up there as well. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. Both of these phones have the Google Tensor chipset inside of it, which is really cool. The same exact one. However, you are getting 6 gigabytes of RAM on the Pixel 6a, but you're getting 12 gigabytes of RAM on the Pixel 6 Pro. So you're getting twice the amount of RAM on this specific device. So let's go and see how both these phones compare in that standpoint. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. All the apps are cleared out in the background, as you guys can see, except for this one, obviously. So once we clear these out, we should be good to go. So let's get into it. Let's go and do phone calls. 3, 2, 1. The Pixel 6 Pro is here. The Pixel 6a is here. Now, theoretically, they should be the same speed. We should just be getting better RAM management on the Pixel 6 Pro. Google Messages, 3, 2, 1. Okay, kind of the same thing too. Camera, 3, 2, 1. Okay, roughly around the same thing too. We do have this little kind of, I think the Pixel 6a was faster. We do have this little drop up at the bottom, so let's take a photo. And they both are in dark mode like I mentioned, so let's see which one is faster. And the Pixel 6 Pro was much faster there than the Pixel 6a, as you guys can see. So in a dark mode photo like that, definitely a faster experience here. Let's go and get into their photos. Kind of the same thing too. Let's go and zoom in and out. Pretty much the same thing as well. Hopping out of here, let's go and do Google Photos, 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing too. Let's go and get into a photo. Pretty much the same thing as well. Let's go and get into Play Stores, 3, 2, 1. Now this app is crazy fast on both now. I think the 6a was faster because I've been loading it up so much. It's probably built in on cache now for between the 6a, but both these phones should be theoretically the same. Now, even though the this phone has 120 hertz. Sometimes it does glitch up a little bit, like now you can kind of see, but the Play Store has just always been a glitchy experience in my opinion. Now let's go and get into some of these third-party applications between both. Let's do BOFA 321. Almost the exact same thing. Let's go and get into Stack, which I don't think I have here. So let's get into Dropbox 3, 2, and I don't have it here either. Quizlet 3, 2, 1. Pixel 6a was actually faster there. Very, very surprising. Let's go and get into the next application, which is Fruit Ninja, which I do not have, which is very strange. Let's go and get into Twitter 3, 2, 1. 6a again is the faster one. Again, I think it's probably due to me opening it up here so often. I'm not 100% too sure, but it is very strange. It shouldn't really be like that. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And I think I opened up the wrong Temple Run, but I guess we'll wait and see. Nope, it's the same one. And again, we're downloading the thing here. It actually was still a little bit faster though on that phone, which is very surprising. So, still kind of a faster experience though on the Pixel 6a, which is very strange. But the 6 Pro did finish this one up a little bit faster there, so keep that in mind. Let's go into, let's do Snapchat 3, 2, 1. Almost the same exact thing, hopping out of here. Let's try Instagram 3, 2, 1. Pixel 6 Pro substantially slower there for some reason. Let's go and get into the original Temple Run, which I also do not have here. So we'll just have to open up some of these third-party games. Let's try Genshin Impact 3, 2, 1. Now we should be able to get into the loading panel of both. I don't know if I have it downloaded on either one of these, but I guess we'll just wait and see. There's a hair on the screen which I wanted to take out, but I don't want to mess up the comparison. And it kind of looks like the Tensor chipset, or at least the Pixel 6 Pro is going to be faster. But they should theoretically be the same exact speed because they had the same exact chipset inside. Now, the big thing is RAM management. I've been seeing some really weird stuff going on with the Pixel 6a in the RAM management portion. So if I start loading these things up, if I go in the background, if I load up the first application we tested, which was phone calls, you can see the Pixel 6a restarted it where the Pixel 6 Pro kept it in the background. That's basically what should be happening, but the Pixel 6a has been kind of closing out of these applications where it really shouldn't be. As you can see, even with my last comparison between this and the iPhone 11, for some reason it was just closing out of applications it shouldn't be at all, and it's basically doing the same thing. So I think when it comes down to both, speed is actually kind of fast on the Pixel 6a, surprisingly, but the Pixel 6 Pro is definitely a far better machine, not only in terms of speed. I would say it was a little bit slower than this, but because of RAM management as well. So that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of the actual cameras on the back, what's very interesting is I think both these phones are great cameras. The Pixel 6 Pro is definitely the better one, though. We have a dual camera setup on the Pixel 6a, wide and ultra-wide, Pixel 6 Pro, wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens. Now you have 4K at 60 on back, which is great, but only 1080p on the front of the Pixel 6a, where we do have 4K at 30 on the front of the Pixel 6 Pro. On the 6a, I think Apple, or I think Google did a good job in this specific camera, and I do think it holds up fairly well. Like, is it perfect? Absolutely not, but I think it gets the job done. You have that ultra-wide sensor built in as well, which is a really nice touch, and I do like having the amount of cameras and features that the Pixel 6a has at 449. My only issue is the stock camera application has very little features built in, and the zooming in and out is not my favorite on something like this. However, the Pixel 6 Pro is almost the same exact thing as well, and almost all Android phones are having this kind of issue where it's like, the camera features could be better. Samsung's the only one who really does it, completely right. Even Apple isn't really killing it, in my opinion. Now, the camera on the Pixel 6 Pro was actually pretty good. I've heard a lot of people say this camera wasn't as great as they expected. I think this camera is pretty good, but it's just a little glitchy, as you guys can see, zooming in and out. But it should theoretically give you a better experience than something like the Pixel 6a, just because it is a better lens, higher megapixel count on these lenses, and you have that additional telephoto lens, which allows you to zoom in a ton into a photo. You can see right here, I don't even know what I'm zooming in at, but you're able to zoom in as much as you want to, which is really, really awesome. So I would definitely start with this camera being the better one overall. And honestly, that's kind of how it's about this whole entire video. I think the Pixel 6 Pro is definitely the better phone when it comes down to it. There really isn't an area where the Pixel 6a wins, except for the price tag and maybe the speed thing. The speed thing was kind of throwing me off a little bit. But the Pixel 6 Pro, you're getting a better display, better 120 hertz, which is cool. No, only 60 hertz here. Better build quality, better cameras, better battery life features, like with the reverse and wireless charging. I will actually take back better battery life. I don't know if that's 100% the fact because you do have a better display here, but I have been finding the Pixel 6a's battery life to be pretty good too. And performance is overall going to be better on the Pixel 6 Pro. On something like the Pixel 6a, on the other hand, it's a cheaper phone. It's going to be lasting the same amount of time and for a much cheaper brand new price tag. And this is a really, really good option. Speed, I think, is better here, but the RAM management is the one that's throwing me off the most. So I feel like Google has a lot to work on in that standpoint. But I will tell you, maybe the Pixel 6a is the better one for you for a better value per dollar. But I do feel like in the next year or so, this phone is going to be going down in the used market as well. You can't really go wrong with either one of these, but definitely get the Pixel 6 Pro if you have the option. So that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.